This is one fat boy, and here are my NBA game predictions for April 23rd. Tonight there's 4 games. I'll go over the spreads and over-unders for each of them. For the Sixers at Toronto, I expect the Sixers to close out the series. Toronto really doesn't have an answer for Embiid. They can only try to slow him down, but he's too big. He's too brolic. It'll just be too much for Toronto to handle. So that's why I just lean towards Philadelphia -3. Also, just like a few players step up for the Sixers. That should do it for them because pretty much 2 players should have good games on Toronto to counter 1 good game by Embiid. And then for every player that shows up on either team that decides who wins so far, it's been Philadelphia's been having like the better games. That's why they are up 3-0. So that's why we lean towards Philadelphia winning by 3. That seems reasonable enough. Then under 213.5, as these games have most time been lower scoring. So I see that trend going along as Philadelphia plays slower, and then both can play some defense. They both have their lulls on offense. They take their time, so that's why I just lean towards an under. For Dallas at Utah, be going with Dallas plus 5.5. So we're seeing the falling apart of Utah come right before our eyes. Might see Luka in the second round for the first time, and he didn't even have to play. Maybe it's Luka that's holding back Dallas, but overall, I think Dallas, they've been playing as a team. Brunson and Dinwiddie, then Max Kleba has been playing very well, just making timely shots, just been able to slow down the Jazz enough to sneak out with these wins. So that's why I lean towards Dallas plus 5.5, as Utah is really not going to blow anyone out, especially with how they choke in the fourth quarter. That'll bring the game close. So Dallas plus 5.5. We'll be leaning towards an over 212.5, as I think Dallas, they're going to play some good defense, but Utah's perimeter defense is not great, and that's where a lot of the Mavericks' damage is coming from. So going with that logic, that means Dallas should have easier time scoring, so that's why we're leaning towards an over 212.5. For Boston at the Nets, we're going with Boston plus 3. It's hard to bet against Boston right now with how sporadic the Nets have been playing. Like unless Durant figures something out this game and just has like a good game, and then Kyrie doesn't like lay a goose egg for this game, Boston is going to win. Like both Durant and Irving need to play well, and then a role player needs to step up for Brooklyn for them to win. And then Boston, they just have to play how they've been playing, which is very solid defense, getting everyone involved, like getting like a lot of assists. It means like team basketball there, so that's why I lean towards Boston plus 3. We lean towards an over 222.5, as I think the Nets will figure something out on offense. But also Boston, I think, are able to match the intensity at which the Nets play defense with their offense, and they're able to score and keep the game close, like match the Brooklyn runs just later in the game. But overall, I think this should be a close game, as all of them have been so far. And then over-under, you could probably lean towards either or, but I just lean towards an over, as I think the offenses will figure out the defense in this game. For Memphis at Minnesota, so after the complete meltdown of Minnesota last game, I think Memphis have really figured out how to deal with Towns and how to deal with Edwards and Russell, but mostly Towns. And if Towns isn't there, he has the mental fortitude as a stack of playing cards. So if you can get into his head, that means you win, which I think Memphis have already gotten there. So as long as they get the fouls early in on him and just make him have to work for his shots, Memphis is going to win that way. So that's why I lean towards Memphis -3. But we lean towards an under in this game, as if Towns has another rough game, this is for sure going under. Memphis, I mean, as long as if they play like they did in the second half, this will go over. But if they play like they did in the first half of last game, like this will go under. Overall, I think 232 for a playoff game, I think is pretty high. So that's why I'd be leaning towards an under overall. But both these teams can go off and score a lot. But since it is playoffs, they should be focusing more on defense. They tend to slow it down a little bit, even though Minnesota should probably be pushing pace as much as they can. But under 232, but no matter how hard Minnesota pushes the pace, I think Memphis can match it and just come out with a win. So Memphis -3. Thanks for watching. As always, bet responsibly. Have fun watching the games, and good luck on your bets. And once again, thank you for watching.